It's ready for showcasing. It's ready for demo. It's still in alpha stage. The Portrait Studio that we've been designing, the app, is ready to show you guys. I'm ready to sort of show it to you guys and show you what it offers. I will not be releasing it. We're still developing it, but it's very, very close to completion. We're going to be updating the models. We're going to be adding some new features. We're going to be sharpening some glitches, but we are in testing stage. And in the testing stage, I want to sort of expose it to you guys and your scrutiny, and your feedback will help us develop a much more I guess cohesive app. It's basically designed to help you guys find your references when you need them. So I'm going to show it to you real quick and throws cash at screen. I'm going to show it to you real quick, and I'm going to show it again after class, but I'll show you what it offers. So I've been talking a lot about it, but here it is. All right, play. So this is all developer stuff. You're kind of seeing behind the screen stuff. But let's talk about it. So this is the male model. You will have both a female and a male model. You will have access to facial features, so you can customize the face to be a little bit more unique. The faces that we've chosen for these models are very generic and very basic, universal faces that are not specific to any race or any kind of predisposition, like like a thin person or a fat person. It's a very, very basic general model type. The reason why that's important is because everyone draws different faces, but light behaves very universally, and we want to sort of unify the laws on how light works on a face by making the face as generic as possible, so you guys can transfer those reference pointers that you get from the screenshot over to your image and use the screenshot that you used after customizing the light placement, the shadows, the cast shadows, all of that. After you're done with the app, you can take it into your painting and use it as a reference. The grid lines are still in development. Basically, you get a symmetry line to help you reproduce the image in the painting that you have. So we have a symmetry line running through. You have control over the camera and the angle. Sorry about that glitch. It's just my memory card. It's not working very well with, not memory card, graphics card. It's not working very well on my computer. Basically, after you're done, you get to choose the angle that you want to take the picture from. And that's the angle that you get for your reference, whatever painting, whatever the specifics are of your painting that you need a reference for. You have control over the light sources, so you get to control, let me turn these off, you get to control where the light source is coming from. It moves on a z-axis, it moves on an x, y, and z-axis. So you get to really mess around with shadows. These shadows that you see here are very accurate to the specific features of the face as we speak. Yes, there are 3 light sources. We're not adding 5 or 10 because that really makes no point. What you want to do is think like a photographer, basically. You have your model, and you have the shadows that you have access to, and these shadows work like props in your reference in your image. So what happens is you can really be as creative as possible with the lighting. You can be as dramatic as possible. Lighting and the way lights are organized in a painting says a lot about a face. So for those who are specific portraiture artists, even photographers can use this app. Still not done though. It will be soon. Hopefully in a month's time we will release it officially. Having access to shadows like this really helps you explore the actual sciences of lighting and specifics and composition, how much shadows really play in your painting of a face. We all are used to just drawing universal lighting, general diffused light that allows us to see every corner of the image. None of us really explore enough with cast shadows. So that's something that we have access to in this app. Then there's the specs of the face, the kind of face you have. The female face is really very beautiful as well. So we've chosen very standard beauty models, male and female. I've added, on my request, I added the breasts on the female because a lot of you are having trouble with collarbones. How to paint the collar, how to paint the shoulders, and so I've added that in there. There will be a time when we have full body, but until then, until we develop it, you guys only have access to a full bust. And I think that's more than enough for a lot of you. I mean, there's a lot of references out there available on Google, and please use them for your personal exploration and inspiration. But it's very hard for me specifically to find that dramatic kind of lighting that I want to use. You can take this into traditional. It doesn't have to be about digital painting. You can print it out or have it on your screen and paint with your pencils. It's also an amazing teaching tool. That's what it originally started off. When I pitched this idea, it wasn't just for finding references and personalizing references. It was, I'll answer your questions in a sec, but it was mostly for teaching. I had this one student, she's here as well, it's Shauna, and she just complained to me one day about the difficulties of painting a face in three-quarter view. And so I said, God, I wish I had an app that just allowed me to rotate a face for you so I can show how compression slowly happens on a face on a three-quarter view. And that's really what led to pitching this idea to the programmer and the 3D modeler that worked on this. What else? There's a couple of glitches here. You can see the poly count is really messing up the shadows here on this model. My graphics card is messing up when we rotate. None of these issues will be there in the original. You guys are having sneak peek backstage access to this, so stay patient with me. The awesome thing, really the best thing about this, well, there's a lot of good stuff about this, but after you're done, you can take the screenshot, but you have access to more than one light source, and I think that's important because when we have access to this many light sources, what we really can do is mess around with diffuse and really see how much light really bounces around in a room when we are painting a face or any other object. So any rules that you learn here from the lighting and the behavior of light and multiple light sources on one object translate over into any other still object that you're ever going to draw. So it's not just about faces anymore. This is amazing. We're going to have a cube added to this, so just a solid cube model. So you guys can mess around with a cube. We're going to have polygons that you can mess around with to help you understand lighting in three-quarter view and not three-quarter view, three-dimensional objects better. So you're going to have access to a sphere, to a triangle, to a pyramid, to a cube, and you're going to mess around with the lights there. So again, it's a very amazing teaching and learning tool. It's going to help you guys. The reason why I do not have hair or accessories on this is for one very specific reason. This is the format of the 14-day challenge. There is no color here on the model, and that is for a very specific reason as well, is so that you guys can explore the form as much as possible. Light gets in the way. So color gets in the way of understanding the light. So that's why I kept it all grayscale. There is going to be downloadable content later. There's going to be updates as soon as we found a way to host it. Just we know how, but we want to know exactly when and where we're going to be hosting the file so that you guys can get updates as we update it. There might be some glitches after release that we want to anticipate fixes for. And that's pretty much it, really. It's those three main things: customizing the face, customizing the light source, and customizing the camera angle. So you have access to everything that could possibly get in your way. If these lights are in the way, you can just turn them off here. There's going to be a lot of things changed between now and release date, but this is pretty much the gist of it. So male, female model, and shapes. You guys get grid lines. So when you do take the screenshot, so we took the screenshot. I'm just going to go into the developer file where the screenshot save. So you have this screenshot. Sorry about this glitch here. But this, you can take it over into your painting on Photoshop and copy it. And you get this for the female face as well when you're done. So you have access to really accurate lighting situations, access to really accurate references. You are not depending on a painting. You are not looking for hours on on Google. Just looking for a reference on how light behaves in that specific instance. It will not be for free. I'm so sorry, but we put a lot of work into it. It's going to be for sale, and I will specify where to buy it and how much it will be later on upon release. But that's it. I promised you guys I would get this out, and we did it. The modeler and the programmer are amazing hard workers, and a lot of their input went into developing this as well, so it wasn't just my work. They deserve a lot of credit too. There will be a couple more changes on how we scroll the page. You'll have an option to move the page around and scroll it if you want to see a little bit more, or zoom out and zoom in. And that's pretty much it, yeah. So let me just scroll and see what you guys are saying. So excited. I've been out for weeks because the holiday was so nutty. Welcome. It's nice to see you around again, Shauna. And the nipples aren't weird. They're not weird nipples. They're actually really normal. Global light source. Yes, directional light will be an option. Is it going to be for free? Only for Windows? Yes, it'll be available for Windows and Mac. Thank you for answering, Abu. I was such a problem child that I needed an entire mechanism built to help me. That's not true. You're not a problem child. Gaze in awe at the results of my notes. No, don't say that. How about hair? Hair might be added later on. But really, it's if I add hair, I'm going to have to add a material model for rocks. I'm going to have to add a material model for all kinds of matter. So I don't think I'm going to be opening those floodgates, but we will see. We will see. Oh, you feel home again? I'm so sorry we've had such a long break. It's just the holidays. And what do you mean by 3D scan model, Mister? Will there be any import-export options or other programs to save a particular face structure to mess with like ZBrush or Blender? I think that's very easy to do. I think we've already talked about that as well, saving in different file formats. So we might be able to do something like that before release. We will see. Please make it affordable. I live in Turkey and $1 is worth 3 Turkish liras here. I will offer this for students with a discounted rate. And I might offer it for free for those who cannot afford it. This is I believe in free education. I'm here because of that reason, and I like to help people. So if there are some who have difficulty paying for this, I will create a specific form submission method for those who want to apply for this model, and I probably will be able to provide it for you guys. Almost to everyone who asks for it. If I won't be able to, maybe after 3 months of release, I will be able to, and I will afford to give it out for free for those who are interested in having it for free. But it does support us if you guys pay for it. It does support our tiny little studio. It does support what I'm doing here, if you guys buy it. I didn't even know there weren't classes. Really, Ariel? Oh. Using a 3D scanner to get a 3D human model into the program so it's anatomically accurate model instead of current male figure you have in there. Yeah, we do have, like I said, I would not do that, Mr. Moose. I would not scan. The reason why I wouldn't scan a full 3D model is because I want the model to be as universal as possible. So I don't want it to be specific to any gender, any specific race, any specific kind of eye. It's really just for design purposes. It's for those people who have to paint a character in a specific kind of lighting, illustrate a certain kind of character in a certain kind of lighting, in a full illustration for their own use, whether it's commissions or studies or learning or teaching. This app helps you with that. So that's what it's basically for, a really, really concise reference, customizable reference design system thing. I will be more eloquent in my final presentation of this app. But yeah, that's it. Let's get on to critiques. So can I have a raise of hands or like a hand count or head count or a show of hands, there we go, of how many people are interested in purchasing this? So it's called Portrait Studio, and yeah, that's what it is. It's a portrait studio. You get your own model, male or female, and I think that's a miracle because I was thinking, like, necessity is the mother of invention, and that's really what led to this. I needed it as well. I wish that I had it, and to tell you the truth, I used the original alpha, like the pre-alpha version of it right when we first modeled it, before we could customize the face. I used that for my witch painting, so I use it for this. I used the model, I used the program for this painting here. I did get my hand over the shadows, if you guys can see in the video process of this painting, but I did use it just to figure out how the nose really would cast the shadow and how the eyes would compress in an angle that is both from the bottom and the 3/4 view, which is a little bit difficult for me at the time. So that definitely helped me with it, and I'm looking forward, just selfishly, I'm looking forward to how much this app is going to help me in my work. It really just makes you think about lighting as much as you should. So okay, So that's a good starting number. 12 people. Um, I can't buy in dollars. It's too expensive. Third world problems. I'm sorry. But I will talk about how to get it for free for students. But let's begin. Sorry, enough talking. A couple of these have been in the critique queue for a while. So that's something we're gonna have to cover. Some of these haven't been looked at all. They've been sitting in the critique queue for months. I'm so sorry. It's because of the themes. The themes have been pushing lots of pieces off. So let me just get comfortable on my dashboard. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to get started with this piece here, and then I'm going to jump onto the other ones after. Oh, you'll post on Tumblr? Thank you, Shauna. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I did want to ask you guys. Sorry for those on YouTube, probably like so sick of me. I did want to ask you guys, what are your art-related New Year's resolutions? Mine is to draw more, and it's to draw more hand sketches. I've been doing that on Instagram. Actually, I've been sketching a lot. If you guys follow me there, but I've been trying to do more hand sketches. I'm going to be doing another form study. I've been doing one form study like month every year in January for the last 3 years, and I've been comparing 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and I want to do another one this year. And I want to finish the one from this year so I can compare how much I've improved in my knowledge of form studies. That's one thing. Sketching more and doing more figure studies. That's something that I really want to focus on. And completing more full finished images. I sketch a lot and I bullshit a lot and I don't complete images. And I get lazy when it's like when I'm done with the face. I get lazy and I get onto like the clothes and I get so fucking lazy. So I've been wanting to tackle that as well as work out more and not drink any soda. I haven't drank any soda for a year. I want to continue that. Oh shite, be careful what you offer for critiques, I guess. To actually draw, that's my resolution. Yeah, to just sit down and draw like once a day. I want to make one piece at least every 2 weeks. A full finished piece to understand three-quarter view better. That's a really good one. That's a really nice specific goal. To paint better. Emmanuel, you've been painting amazingly. I don't know if you guys are on the community. You guys should join the Google community. It's where I choose all of these images to critique from. But Emmanuel's been improving a lot. He's been taking on the 14-day challenge to be able to produce a portfolio, weekly form studies, hands, understand form, mastering watercolor. Yeah, that's a big thing. Color and form. Just to have fun drawing. Zedarak, me too. I don't have fun. I need to teach myself how to just have fun with, like, just enjoy the process. I get too stressed and so much like artist anxiety as I paint. And yeah, I need to learn how to have fun too. Good luck with your portfolio, Black Oreo. Sarah Chris wants to be the very best. Finish paintings, yes. You're on your 4th year of no soda. Awesome. I'm on like year 2, almost. Yeah, like year 2, because I did it 2 years ago. But I did have soda when I go to movies. You just have to have soda. To draw and understand color, paint full bodies, dynamic angles. Yes, yes, yes. All of that is amazing. Thank you, Irish. Thank you, Abu. Full finished pieces, understand Photoshop CS6. Yeah. It's really amazing once you learn more about the tools available in Photoshop. It makes the painting process a lot more smooth if you know what you're doing. I might have to make a video about that. Changing style consciously. That's tricky, Priscilla Bear. Don't ever make a goal of something that you know you can't control. Changing style, your style is going to change, period, and it's not a style, Priscilla. It's habits. Your habits are going to be changing. And that's something that you have to be aware of. Consciously changing habits is easy. Consciously changing your style isn't. So for now, since you're a student, just focus on changing your habits. Make sure your habits are good habits. Bad habits are like starting only with a face and painting and fully rendering the face before you get on to even sketching the body figure, or the gesture. Bad habits are spot rendering, rendering only the, like one really, really detailed part of the hair, and everything else is like a size 200 brush. Um, those are bad habits. If you can break those bad habits, zooming out is a really, really good habit. So all of these things are going to make your art better. So it's really not about style, it's about habit and being conscious of your habits. You want to draw what's in your head. Yeah, that's something difficult. Understanding realism so you can break it down for more cartoony styles. That's also really awesome. You guys are filled with amazing ideas. So good luck with all of that. I hope that I play a role in helping you guys achieve these achieve these goals. And I hope that we stay together for another full year. Last year I didn't do a full year of Critique Hour. With your help and your motivation and your constant, support, I think I'll be able to do another full year of Critique Hours. So every week, 2 days of Critique Hours together. That's one of my goals, is to stay consistent and be available for you guys. Despite the work, despite private practice, I do want to be able to do this Critique Hour for years to come. So help me with that. Motivate me. Don't let me fall off, because I will do that. I get really moody. Okay, so let's begin. Sorry about that, YouTube people. You had to sit through that, but it's nice hearing about the viewer and not just about me. Okay, so this is the biggest issue here. This little piece right here. The problem with this figure is that I think you started off with a face, or you didn't use a reference, or you didn't flip your canvas. Something stopped you from seeing this really uncomfortable and unbalanced figure. If you think about it, like if I was a short girl and I had like something I could lean my arm, I am a short girl, and I need something to lean my elbow on to take this picture. I would not lean my elbow on something that high. You lean your elbow on something that is level with your elbow. She had to dislocate her shoulder and move her arm all the way just to fit on top of this. Clearly, this is not a realistic situation for leaning on something. What you could have done with her, and this is something that just been sitting in my head. I couldn't wait to start Critique Hour again so I can show you. But what you could have done with her is you could have made her tuck her arm. Just, how sometimes you can just lean on a wall with just your body. You don't need really to have anything holding up your elbow. She could have just tucked her arm right under her. So I'll have to find a way to fit that in. Her arm is too small, by the way. Just under her, so that her hip and her lower arm are both helping support all this weight on this object. Also, the tilt of her body is really, really off, so I'm going to get that fixed up first. Whoops. But yeah, what's everybody saying? Imagine if you got badges like in Pokemon when you understand something. Throws money in support. Yeah, I've forgotten how to have fun too. You spend all your life telling yourself, I gotta get better, I gotta get better, I gotta improve, and I gotta be better than last year. You forget how to have fun, and I don't blame you guys. I don't blame you guys if you forget how to have fun when I teach you, because I know it can be very, very harsh and mean. But yeah, we definitely need to learn how to have fun when we paint. We're gonna do it for the rest of our lives. And if we're not having fun, there's no point. If there's no happiness in the craft, why do we do it? It's not like we're punching numbers. We're living our dream, really. So we have to learn how to have fun. So there's that. I know you might want to stylize her and make her a little bit more curvy, but I feel like this will read a lot better for the gesture. Never sacrifice the realism for the gesture, or the realism for... What I mean is, if it's not your style and it's not something you've developed, and it takes years to develop a style, by the way, don't sacrifice an entire field of anatomy for it. If it looks awkward, just fix it. Don't use the style excuse, is basically what I'm saying. Okay, so that's kind of what I mean with her leaning on it. And I'm just going to tuck this in a little further. So her arm would be pretty much leaning, well, behind her. She'd be sitting on her arm or leaning on her arm. And this whole arm just needs to be bigger. And now it looks a lot more natural. So now she seems like she's actually holding on to something. And what you want to do, and I talk about this in my figure drawing book a lot, and I kind of explain it thoroughly, you want to make it feel like this person isn't going to fall over. A lot goes into figure drawing, and one of the biggest things is balancing the person's weight against the gravity that always pulls down. So gravity plays a massive role in how we understand figures and how we draw figures. And if we forget about that really tiny little elusive rule, what will happen is that we will always draw figures that look like they're going to fall over. And if you're guilty of that, if you suffer from that in your art, it's because you're not thinking about gravity. You're not balancing the weight along an axis of balance on the image. So the axis of balance would be somewhere here, and we want to make sure that whatever is here, there's an equal part of it here. And if there is something here supporting this object, we can afford to have more of this object on this side of the axis, because there's something supporting the weight. If this weight suddenly disappeared, she would fall over. Or all the weight would be along here. So we can afford to do a lot of stuff when we have something to support the weight. But if you don't have anything to support the weight and it always looks like your characters are going to fall over, it's because of that reason. You're not thinking about the role of gravity in your drawing the figures, in the drawing of the figure. So let's take a look at how this looks now and where it looked and where it was before. Okay, so do you guys see the problem? The arm was completely dislocated. It was completely outside of the anatomy of the symmetry. So if we drew a sketch over this of where I expect the shoulders to be, so we've got this spine or this gesture line, I would place the shoulder somewhere here, but the arm and the puff of that little sleeve is all the way up here. This is completely off. It's completely dislocated. It's completely deviated away from the central anatomy. This is why it's important not to just finish a face, completely render it and say, hey, this is a nice face, maybe I can turn it into an illustration. That's just because it looks finished doesn't mean you're thinking professionally. You want to think like a professional. You're going to eliminate as many mistakes before you even make them as possible. You're eliminating your potential to make mistakes. In order to do that, you have to plan your image, and gesture drawings and gesture lines go a long way. They take 2 seconds to do, but they affect the next 8 hours of rendering. If that's not worth it, I don't know what is. If I had something that quick fixed all the mistakes I used to make, I would have taken that thing and ran with it. And I didn't know that it was gesture lines until it was too late, until all my images look really stiff and really weird. And this is stiffness right here. We brought that down, and now she looks like she's leaning on something. Her arm, everything feels more natural. Everything is centralized around that gesture line that represents the spine and the body of weight and the weight axis. And it's really just completed the image. As for the face, let's talk about the face a little bit. I've talked a lot about age lines and how dangerous age lines can be. And what you don't want to do ever is use a line or anything similar to a line, anything that is too thin to show a laugh line. You also want to use shades instead of outline symbols like the lip. So this is a symbol of a lip. This is not an actual lip structure. I see no major blending. I see no, the makeup is pretty much just covering the fact that you're not really thinking about the structure of the lips as a 3D object. So what I'm doing here is trying to make the lips feel like they belong in the skin. They actually are attached to the skin and not hover over it. You need to throw a shadow over half the face. That beard shadow I always talk about. And what that beard shadow does is it makes the head three-dimensional, and it makes it fit into the object, fit into the three-dimensional of the room, fit into the room and the light. The object fits in with its environment. And if you want to make her laugh, you want to give her a laugh line, it has to be a laugh bump if she's young. So you can go ahead and throw in that laugh. but you have to use a larger brush for it. You can't use that tiny little brush you used before. So you see, she still has that sinister look on her face. And young people can still smile and have laugh lines, but they are not laugh lines like line wrinkles. There is line wrinkle and there is the bump. Younger people have the bump, the fact that the skin all compressed together and the muscle and the fat of the cheek compressed together to make the face smile. This area, this whole area here needs to be in shadow. The primary light source, you have to think about light sources, guys. I hope this app makes a difference in your lives when you guys, and how important light is to think about. Well, when we turned off all those lights in the app, if you guys noticed, it was just black. There was nothing was visible, because that's what we programmed the physics of that app to do, is when there's no light, there's zero light. There's nothing visible in there. So that's how it is in real life. Nothing is visible unless there is light to reveal it. And if you're not thinking as the artist, as the designer, about the light in this room revealing this object, then you're going to draw flat images forever. You want to make something look three-dimensional, start thinking about the light source. So the eyebrows are a little bit symbolic. You want to blend them a little bit. We want to see a series of relief and detail, relief, and eyebrows are an area of relief when it comes to hair. You're not expected to draw every single little bristle of hair. So I'm just trying to sculpt the face. I'm trying to choose where the high points are of the face. And the high points are the cheekbones, the brow bone, and the hair on the brow bone also gets illuminated. I'm going to jump into Liquify really quick and make the eyes focus. When you want to make eyes look like they're looking in the same direction, so she seems spaced out right now. You want to make eyes look like they're looking in the same direction, you have to kind of just cross them just a little bit so they look like they're looking at something. And I'm just going to complete the expression. The expression is a little bit inconsistent. What I'm going to do is give her that laugh. The nostril also travels with the laugh. And just give her that kind of like devilish smile. And a devilish smile, if you guys remember the expression lesson we did, is basically the symbol of it is angry eyes and a smile, or angry brows and a smile. And brows play a massive role in expressions. The cheeks also go a little bit higher. And you want to show off the jawline. You want to give us a little bit of a hint at the jawline. Okay. And then the bottom lip gets some light. Oops. And I'm going to give the bottom lip some lipstick as well. So right now what you had was lipstick, but I think what you were doing was the top lip is supposed to be a little bit darker than the bottom lip. But what you did was you made it too dark that it read like lipstick. So I'm just going to go with it as if it was lipstick. Wherever the light is coming from, that's the part of the Cupid's bow that gets to light. Cupid's bow should be very, very soft. You should not use lines to render a Cupid's bow. I'm going to make her eyebrow a little higher. And what happens in this kind of lighting, the room is really dark. All you have is the window. And the enemy probably just walked into the room and she's like, "Hey buddy," and then she kills him. So this is pretty much what you want to do. You want to create that mood of danger. So what I'm going to do is make her a little bit more mysterious and dangerous. I'm going to make her eyes like kind of covered in some darkness, and that's really important for the lighting as well, because that's what the lighting in this situation does. Sorry I'm not looking at the comments. I will soon. Careful with the shadows on either side of the nose. You want to just be careful with that. So if you are designing this for some sort of industry job, if you guys are doing this for an employer that, you know, has a specific storyline, ask them, what's your storyline? What's the story? It'll help you make some really serious light composition choices. Light and composition choices. You know, how's the lighting going to be? Is she supposed to be dangerous? Why don't I just throw a shadow over her face? That'll make her look dangerous. That'll make her look mysterious. Like in anime, you know, in anime, like in One Piece, when they introduce a new enemy, they're always like covered in shadow because it makes them feel dangerous, right? And then eventually Luffy kicks their ass and they all become monkeys and donkeys. But you know, before that, they're all tough shit. Like when Vegeta and Nappa land for the first time, you don't see their faces, you see like behind them, or you see their silhouette, or you see their feet, or you see their eyes glowing. You don't see their full image just yet. You want to give that mysterious, you know, you want to have some presentation. So take your time, you know, in showing off the face. It really does a lot for the character. And if you feel like, oh, now I'm missing some light, just get the light and throw it in there. Just, you know, you're breaking a rule by placing that light in there, but it's a stylistic choice. And that's it. So we fixed the arm, we fixed the head. I feel like the head should be in a little bit more shadow. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just slowly shrinking my brush, and the more I shrink my brush, the more the paint comes out. I'm going to throw one more shadow over half the face, and her face really feels like it belongs in this image, doesn't it? I'm going to choose a light source color. I'm sorry if I don't get to everyone's today. I will go over a little bit more than 6 o'clock because of the showcase that I did. The demo kind of took some time. Oopsie. But I will try to get to everyone's. So I'm going to throw some light over her face right here. She's starting to look a little bit more realistic because we're thinking about the light source. You know, what's the light source? You want to draw realistically, start thinking about the light source, boys and girls. And that same light source, I'm going to use it for the breasts. The breasts kind of look like they're lacking in, you know, they need some attention. And the big thing about drawing boobs, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is don't forget to clean up edges. Edges are what you have to, and don't replace edges with lines, and never draw cleavage like this, for the love of God. Never outline cleavage. That's not how it looks. That's not how it works. So I'm just going to fix this up and erase away what I want, what I don't want. And just have that line. This is like the only time you're allowed to use a line, when there is an actual clash between two bodies of fat. So wrinkles, under the eyes, the fingers, they all have lines. They're all allowed to use lines. Okay. And the upper part of her, so midtones, the upper part of her shirt is facing the light. So that's the area I'm going to illuminate. And the lower part of her shirt is facing away from the light, so that's the part that gets the shadow. And now everything is starting to match in realism and three-dimensionalness. Okay, so what you want to do always, so this, if you're like, okay, Istebrak, I believe you, I fucked up, I really want to get better, please forgive me, what do I do? Use your gesture lines. Gesture lines are really important. They will help you avoid lots of mistakes later on. You rendered a lot. This is a finished illustration, but you had some serious elementary mistakes. And the reason why that's a problem is because you can render. You have the potential to render. You can render very, very well. But what's happened is that your kind of just neglect of the fundamentals has led to this vital mistake. This crucial mistake, this fatal mistake, sorry. So don't neglect your basics. The basics will make you a more proficient professional. Repeat that. Everyone write that back to me. The basics will make you a more proficient professional. Let's see what everyone is saying. Like a backstory for your painting. Exactly. It helps with the aesthetic. You can determine where to draw inspiration from, the architecture, clothing, time period. Exactly. It's the mise en scène. It's the props of the stage. If you're a stage director and you have a play, you're going to ask yourself, what's this play about? Someone's going to say, okay, hey, I want to hire you for a play. Choose some props. A smart director will say, okay, what's the play about? Is it Shakespeare? Is it Broadway? What do I do? So that's what you have to do. Decide what the story is, and that's what's going to make you make really good choices with the lighting and everything else. What I recommend you do, like as a whole for the image, is make this a little brighter. Oops, took off my glasses. Basics, proficient, professional. The basics will make you a more proficient professional. Yes. The basics aren't like, it's like saying, hey, those are like, baby things. I'm not a baby. I'm not going to do that. I'm better than that. I can finish a whole illustration. I don't need to worry about basics. That's not true. You need to worry about basics. Alright, so I'm going to fix the color because you have some reds in here, and the reds seem to just be sitting there. You need to get rid of these reds and choose a wash for your image. I recommend you have the reds only on her person and the greens in the background. This needs a wash. And anywhere where we're starting to see less and less detail, so the legs, the little pantyhose are not as detailed as the face, this gets more green. Anywhere where there is a lot of detail, that's where we will place some reds, because reds and greens clash. And finally, she's way off center. Unless you fill this area up with something, you're going to have to crop a little bit more. She's a standing character and you had too much horizontal going on. So this is before the green wash and after. It's really much better for a healthier canvas. So before, after. Let me just so before, after. Please make sure you don't mess up with your shadow colors as well. Shadow colors need to stay consistent and the same color. Don't just throw reds in areas that are meant to be a shadow. If you want to give her some red makeup, go right ahead. That's really cool. Actually, I'm just going to add a little bit more red makeup, so it's kind of like an orange. It's really cool, and maybe give her lips some redness. These are areas that you can get away with having some redness, but also on the cheeks as well. Like I said, you can have redness anywhere where there is detail, because that's the opposite of the green. But areas that are shadows, please don't bring in redness there. Keep the shadow colors the color of the wash. Just bring that down a little. Merge down, merge down. So the reds and greens thingy, what I'm talking about, Oreo, is you want to choose a wash for the painting. You don't want to just take color from here, color from here, color from here. What you do is you choose a color. That color that you choose has two pieces of information attached to it. It's grayscale and it's hue. When you choose a specific color as your wash, those are the colors, that's the neighborhood of the colors you're going to choose everything out of. That's the color of the light, the color of the atmosphere, the general color of the environment at the time. So right now what you told me with your before is that the light was in a green area. So anywhere the light touches, that's what we see. If the light has a green attached to it and it's revealing to us the objects that we see, we're going to see some reds. If there was a light source nearby, a secondary light source that came out of some fire, she seems to be in I know she's a steampunk girl, but she seems to be in some sort of steam engine room or something, and there was a fire nearby, you need to show us that fire. Show us some embers, show us something to prove that this red is coming from something, or else just throw the green on top. And fix the arm. Everything else is really good. What I love about this drawing, so I talked a lot about what the issues were, but what I love is, I love the reference, I think you used references for the gun. I love the gesture of the hand here. I love her design, it's really cute. I like the time you put into the clothes, and if you apply this amount of work and detail and attention to detail for the basics and gesture lines, you won't make these kinds of mistakes again. Everything will look very concise and very sharp. Those tiny little mistakes do get in the way, and you might think they're small now, but they're massive, and they do affect the way people appreciate your work and the way people see your work. Um, yeah, please visit the Google community group if you guys want to submit stuff for critique. If you guys want me to look at your work, please submit stuff for critique there. Colors on faces are so complicated to me. Start off with grayscale for now, Vezan, until you perfect the way you sculpt a face. Start with grayscale. Forget about the colors. Um, Boilo Emily or something asks, do you critique any level of art? Like if I'm just starting out with digital? I do. Absolutely. It's not just finished images or advanced people. I do critique all kinds of levels. This is a home for all kinds of students. This isn't just for like advanced students or something, or really good artists. There's no such thing as that in this room. Everyone is welcome with their work, so submit anything you want. No porn or smut though, or hateful stuff or gore. Yeah, there we go. One of the key things I've learned today is thinking about gravity, prioritizing it is in the piece. Prioritizing it in the piece. Yes, gravity affects that pertains to gesture lines. Gravity affects the way you work with gesture lines. Okay, because I'd really like to learn how to get better. So the color of the light is the color of the object it touches. Yes, everyone repeat that back. The color of the light is the color of any object it touches. How else are we seeing that object if it wasn't for the light and the rules that light came with, which is the rule of green in this canvas? Any color that comes with the light, that's the color of any object that it touches. That's the color of the room, the color of the environment when you're outside in a desert, or let's say outside in like a green, lush environment. Let's say like the most basic landscape, like a rainforest scene. The atmospheric fade in the background is a combination of humidity and the combination of the color of the light on every single oxygen atom, or whatever makes up whatever atoms like nitrogen and zinc and shit, all make up the oxygen in the air. That air has a color because of the color of the light in the sky. So that's the color of the composition you're working with. When you paint that rainforest scene, you're going to have to start with a blue or a gray blue, because that's the color of the light. Before the land was there, before the water was there, before it was just oxygen and air and the landscape and an earth and the sunlight, that was the color. So that's the color you start off with. There's a lot of physics in your choices. That's why it's good to understand just a very basic topical level of physics when you guys are understanding light and getting better. The color of the light and the color of the tendon. Cyrus says you sound much better, Sensei. Glad to hear it. Oh, thank you so much. I feel amazing. I want to tell you guys what it was, because it's really just, it was a crippling problem. So I want you guys to be able to get yourselves tested and see if you guys have that. But it's basically what it was is hypothyroidism. I had it for months at its peak, and I had it for years before that. It makes you like a slug, and you're trapped in yourself. And that's what it felt like. I felt like I was trapped in myself. I was always sick, because what it does is that it makes you sensitive to the cold. So in the summertime, I had the heater on. And that's why in my classes, I feel like I have to tell you guys, because you guys had to suffer hearing me have that stuffy voice for years. Go to my older videos. It's just my voice is very stuffy. Like I had a cold all the time. So if you guys feel sluggish, if you guys have trouble sleeping, if you guys are sensitive to the cold, if you just can't draw, even though you want to draw, you just can't draw. They give you a medicine that makes your thyroid get what it needs. And after that, everything is fixed. So get yourselves figured out. If you guys have these problems, don't wait 6 years and gain 100 million pounds and ruin your art progress before you guys do something about it. Get yourselves tested and stuff like that. Your health is really important. You can't do crap without your health. I had to learn that the hard way. For me, it was always work first, health after. I guess that's why I let it escalate like that. Even though I worked out every day for like years, not years, but I did work out every day for a year, but I was pretty active before that. It still didn't help. You guys have to have some real, chemical fixes in your body before that thyroid fixes up. So that's what I had. And I'm happy it's over. I don't feel cold anymore. I'm actually really hot in this room. It's the first time in forever I actually like the temperature of the room. Anyways, that's too personal. TMI, sorry guys. But yeah, my mom has that too. Yeah, women have it more than men. Women are more in danger of developing hypothyroidism than men are. And at a later age, I don't know why I got it when I was so young. When I first was diagnosed with it was when I was 18, and I completely ignored it. When I was 18, I'm 26, I'm 25 and a half, and I ignored it. I paid the price. Yeah, balance, really important. So anyways, thanks everyone for watching. I think I've run out of time. I don't have time to look at everyone's. I hope the feature of that app excites you guys. I hope you guys are excited for it. I'm really excited for it. I can't wait till we release it and I get to use it. I mean, I can use it now, but I want to kind of use it at its best. It will be released for between $30 and $50. I'm not sure I would raise it up to 50, but we will see. 50 is pretty expensive, but it also offers a lot, and it's a one-time buy for permanent updates, and so you get permanent updates, and then you get a permanent access to downloadable content. So that's a lot. It's a one-time buy for something you're going to use every day, and I want every artist to have a copy of this on their computer because it's really like the artist's best friend. It's going to be as useful as a protractor is to an artist, or a pencil, or a smudge tool. It helps you access rules of light that you otherwise would never have access in a 3D way. We're 2D artists. We don't have access to 3D modeling programs as much as our 3D modeling brothers and sisters. We don't like 3D modeling. We like to draw. So some of us do, which is really cool. Some of you guys are like cyborgs and you can draw and 3D model. You guys are freaks, by the way. Talented freaks. But for some of us, we want access and we need access, and we don't always have money to go out and buy endless amounts of clay. And honestly, I don't want to dirty up my living room with clay. So our computers are amazing tools. Why not just access the 3D worlds that we need to access in order to be 2D artists just on the computer? And I think that justifies how expensive it might be, but it would definitely never go above $50. And I hope that's a reasonable price for some of you. I might not make it all the way up to $50. I do want to make it a friendly release price, and then maybe it will go up back to 50. But we'll see. I do want it to be fair. I want it to be fair for both me and the people who worked on it, and fair to you guys as well, for it not to be so expensive. And that's it. Thanks everyone for coming. Have a great day. Bye bye.